Hey guys, yeah, I'm really checking in with the 14th part, and there's still a process coming, there's a change coming, an exit thing. But we also have to take the intensity with us and the depth. I'm very grateful to you for doing this with me here on the channel, and I just want to drop that in this part as well. Also about Kassra, this isn't meant to be flattery. Really a very pleasant person to have around you. So first of all, thank you very much for taking the time and being here. You're also with my family, and I've met your family too. I think we can say here, even if it's too late, yes or no,
No, it's all good.
that fits well and is likely why we can handle this level now. Community, feel free to give props. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it was clear. You said, boom, door open, police, SCK. There's shouting. The police are really yelling.
Police, yeah.
You realize it'll take a while, but they hurry past you.
Yeah, exactly.
You're sitting on the bed. The thoughts. Did you have that thought inside you? Okay, fight.
No, oh, nonsense. It wasn't my SRSCK mission and never in my life. There wouldn't be a no. My idea lasted only a millisecond. I just briefly thought about it, that's all. I had electronic blinds back then, even to the balcony. I paused, then asked, are you opening it? It was just a moment. I said, no, they'll shoot if you try to escape. Have they done that before? With someone else? I said, no. I turned, lay down, and screamed, I'm not resisting arrest. I'm not resisting arrest. I think I said that 6 or 7 times. Then they came back at me. And back then I had a steel bed with women, with a canopy and everything, and a blanket, and everything was nice and all that. They all came up, and the whole bed collapsed about half a meter. Everyone fell on me. One person even toppled over with all the bags, then got back up. Man, come on up. And then one of them said that, and then they all got on top of me. 2, 3 things without arms. I mean, it was totally fine for me. And then they didn't try to twist my arm either. They just said, hands behind your back. And I said, I'm not resisting. Yeah, it's okay, hands behind my back. And then one of them held my head. And then someone from the homicide division came who was also responsible for field work for the investigations, or rather who assisted with them. I don't know what the position is called. He said, where's the key? I said, which key? Where's the key? I said, which key? Yes, from the second apartment. Then I realized they'd been watching me, and he meant the apartment where I had my affair. I said, yes, everything's fine up there. He took it. Okay, I could put him on. Then they put me on and left. I was restrained as assigned. Okay, then they entered, greeted me, opened it, and gave me the papers. Do you want to put something on? We'll help you. Yes. And then he took off my handcuffs, put them in front, so I could move a bit. He made them longer so I could get dressed. I said, all right, wait a moment, we're searching. Now they want a witness to accompany the search. I said, yes. My neighbor got others, they came, and it was funny. Then someone searching came over. He asked while I was standing, may I quickly use your bathroom? I said, yes, please, go ahead, it's all good. Yeah, okay, thanks, it was totally fine. Honestly, you have to say they could have just left once. 3 disciples went to the bathroom. Did they search and confiscate my club stuff and vest? And I said, yes. Can you let my mother know? I gave the number. She usually says no, but agreed, called and said, good afternoon. So-and-so said I could come by if I wanted. Arrest, etc. Okay, all right. Then they came, all shaken up. No problem. They were already back by then. My parents were already... After a few days, I sent my partner and sister away. They also came back during that time, but then they stayed at my parents' apartment in Märkisches Viertel. They just had to hand over the apartment. They were about to move to Berlin and had the new apartment, but needed to return their old place in Hamburg first.
Oh, then I misunderstood that.
That's the hardest trauma for parents. No normal parent can forget that. And I assume that everyone out there is a reasonable parent. Of course, I also hope you never have to go through something like having your child taken by special weapons and tactics or being escorted out of your home under such an accusation. Everything is destroyed and searched with police involved. It's a big drama, and that's why you definitely don't want that. So let this be a lesson to you. It's not just a traumatizing situation for you. You confirmed it's extremely traumatizing, but also for the parents. Older people can't just move on. Parents don't deserve this. They didn't have a child for this outcome. So think about your parents before you do things here, before you decide to get involved in any shady stuff. It's not just about you. It also affects your families, causing them misery and unhappiness. So don't be selfish. Yeah, and then it was like being taken away in the T5 van, taken away, got pushed in. They shoved me in on the side like that. And what was written on it? Joint murder. That was it for me. I knew, okay, all right, I read it. But first, a lot happens in that moment. The Special Weapons and Tactics team searched the house, made arrests, and headed to Kaltstrasse instead of the State Criminal Police Office in Tempelhof, across from the airport. It's up to the person. It's still there today. Then I was brought there to the collection point, collection point there. Then they dropped me off. I was running on adrenaline, but also a bit relieved since I always had that thought in the back of my mind. When are they coming? When are they coming? Now it's like this. Now it happened, and in a way it was a bit okay. Now it's behind you. Assembly point. At first, there was a short phase of, catching my breath a little, but not really. But definitely in relation to the topic. And you know how it is. You can imagine, right? You've experienced it too, and not just once. And then I was sitting there, and after an hour, they came and said, yes, come with us, please come with us. They took me up to the office, 2 officers. By then they had put ankle cuffs and handcuffs on me and sat me down. And then there were 2 interrogating officers sitting there, and the chief, the senior officer, the head of the homicide division. Collection point, it's always a team, the ones who handle the case. I had an Alphogist there, I haven't forgotten. Greetings at this point, very capable man. Also constitutional protection, so also had an intelligence career, then joined the State Criminal Police Office. Very professional and fair, unlike here. Completely professional, very matter-of-fact, respectful interaction. I sat down, but that only happened later. We sat down, and then there was a woman, Lashke Hervise. I will never forget. We sat down. Yes, we opened it. You are accused of this crime. Do you want to comment on it? No, all right. Are you sure? Yes, you're exercising your right to refuse. Yes, paragraph 55. Okay, all right. But taken away again, brought downstairs. Then I went downstairs. Suddenly, after an hour, the door opened again. The cell door is like the open ones in America with long bars. It's not locked, just a holding area. I was alone too, but it's manageable since it's a very small station. He entered unexpectedly. Your lawyer is here. An officer unlocked the door. We'll leave and unlock it. Let us know when you're done. When finished, have a seat. I won't forget a guy like that. Such a huge guy, kind of like Bud Spencer, just 70 years old. Really thick glasses, like horn-rimmed glasses. Black and white beard, felt like 1/2 meter long, bushy eyes, bushy eyebrows and all that. So quite a character. He came in very nice, very polite, like I would introduce myself. I'm the new lawyer I've been assigned. And Ebo and him, and they sent me, the club sent them, here's the power of attorney, you need to sign it for me, all right? The lawyer, I'm just supposed to give you his regards, the lawyer you wrote down or the one you wanted. Originally, he said, unfortunately, he's already been retained by another colleague, so it's not possible for him to represent you in his case as well, because a conflict of interest makes it impossible. Man, I had someone like Lamet back then, and yesterday as well from a top law firm on Fassenstrasse in Berlin. And I said, okay, all right. He says, you don't say anything. I'll get access to the files. You have a bail hearing tomorrow. I won't be there, but a colleague will be there, Mr. Bosse. He says, he's a capable man, but a younger one is my protege. But I can't be there. I'm here, but there. I'll take care of the matter. Don't say anything, just wait for now. I know it's not a nice situation, but let's wait for the file inspection first. Okay, all right. Then I was transferred to Morabit. Wow, man, and Morabit was, wow, that was something. That place is hell. I don't even know what I was doing there. If you're not scared off by prison after that, then there's nothing more anyone can do for you. You're basically a career criminal.
That's just absolutely terrible too.
Wow, that's a prison that's over 100 years old. That was already in operation back in Bismarck's time during the German Empire, and that's exactly what it looks like. I think it's 5 or 6 stories high.
From the stern.
Yeah, like a star. Yeah, it depends on which floor you're on, but basically, yes, a star. Doors, hey, that looked crazy, and the walls look like they're 100 years old. That's really how it is. The faucet looks like it's 100 years old. The toilet still has old flushes, no door, and the pipes are outside and not inside. It's really crazy. The window is way up high, such a tiny one. I don't know. What is that? 50 centimeters tall and wide. 50 by 50, I'm thinking. What's going on here? Hey, come up here and just screams, puffy, puffy, puffy.
Always loud.
It stinks. In every cell you go into, it stinks, it stinks, it stinks differently and even worse than the other cell. Noise everywhere. And the people, when you look at them, they're all done, all completely done. The clientele, you can immediately see this is the bottom of society. Really, you can feel that the energy there is just terrible. The staff too, like you said yourself, nothing against the staff. They're just doing their job, but over time, work like that affects your mind. It's stressful, very, very much so. Mentally as well, I think definitely. The people you interact with there affect you, and I think the staff also experience many personality changes.
Over time. Exactly.
They undergo significant personality changes when they're in a job like that, especially those who are heading toward incarceration. You noticed many lifeless, indifferent eyes that don't even acknowledge you. They just open the door, they look right through you, in and out just like that, throw you on the floor. You're just one of 1,000, you know? And I go in there, the door opens for me, I get my bag with everything in it, a basic set again, toothbrush, towel, bar soap, toothpaste, cup, plastic cutlery, food bowl, bed linen. Done. You can wear your own clothes in pretrial detention. And door open, and the woman who might still remember me, who locked me up back then, was a nice old school Berliner who'd worked there for 40 years. She asks if everything's okay. I say, yeah, I already heard. Yeah, right. Some people are now aware of that trick. Now she says, man, boy, she says, you're so young here. What are you doing here? She asks what you messed up. I say I'm innocent. She replies, yeah, like everyone here. She says, yeah, come on, take care of yourself, man, somehow. You'll manage, but
It's human, right? Yeah.
yeah, you'll manage, my boy. That's what she says. It was already dark since it was winter evening, she says. If you want, the laughter is pointless. Here's a tip. The others do that too. Take your arrest warrant, put it on this open light, then at least you'll have some insulation. She says, thanks, take care, see you tomorrow, and closes the door. I think, wow. The moment the door closes, it's like the second moment. Remember when I told you inside about the Matrix look and how people recognize it? The Matrix train passes by you and you see the look, just you. Pulled the door again, same boom. Completely stunned and fixated, really. Bro, I'm sitting there and my whole life flashes before my eyes. This can't be real, what?
Have you thought, is this going to be 20 years now?
I hadn't gotten that far. I was just caught up at first.
Some people don't get that you need some initial prison time.
Of course, you have to
First,
calm down first. I had to realize it first, and I just realized, okay, now you're here, the door is closed, you can't open it. My whole life flashed before my eyes. You can't control it. Just sit down and review my life with me. For me, emotions just happen. The brain does that on its own. You're completely overwhelmed emotionally. Cognitive abilities run on adrenaline, and you likely have high blood pressure. I had high blood pressure myself for the first few days. Of course, that's extremely mentally stressful. Then the body enters alert mode and reacts to everything around you. That's a bit, I think, a conscious process from the brain. It plays everything out in your head. For me, it was like, wow, I was still in my clothes. I actually fell asleep sitting up, and I was completely out with my shoes on, those damn green rubber slippers. I sat down and just fell asleep in my Adidas jacket. There was a window by the wall, and I thought to myself, this can't be real. Yeah, and then
I remember boiled rice. Yeah,
boiled rice with chicken, chicken meat and so on, herbs.
if you had chicken meat in it.
Exactly, and frozen carrots and some leaves. I thought there was leek in it.
I still thought it was great. I was on transport and one of the last to get food. The menu is always posted outside by the courtyard. Then I look and think, okay, and then the officer comes and hands me the transport chair. I say, why do I need a transport chair? Yeah, food was the transport chair is so big.
Yes, exactly. Also for young viewers here.
Prison is awesome.
Guys, of course, Philippe is obviously just being sarcastic and joking. Of course, it'll happen one day. I understand. That's just how it is. Nobody wants to experience that. Man, no matter how cool you are, how tough you are, it breaks you. Either you manage to get out or you get even worse because afterwards you just lose yourself. You're so done. And there's nothing cool about that. You can't claim that for yourself. That's my badge of honor, even if it was only my second time. That made it worse for me since I thought, here we go again. I fueled it and experienced it myself, so I can only speak from my experience. Guys, just stop. It will mess you up. Dude, that's a fact, you know? As I said, I was there first. And then the door opened once or twice because a couple of accomplices were there. There was some. I was then also under hand-to-hand supervision. Maybe that's interesting for you too. Hand-to-hand means I was under special observation again. That means organized crime, maximum separation of offenders, no recreation time with the group, no participation in activities, no work. Even if you got some, I wouldn't have gotten them. I wouldn't have been allowed to do them. No pottery classes, no crafts, nothing, no sports courses, nothing at all, no visits. Also, just for the viewer's understanding, when you go into such areas, they automatically monitor visits.
Someone is sitting there, so
Normally, you go into a room like that, there are holes, there are guards present, and there's a set time. They tell you you have to sit at a certain spot, there's a machine, and you can sit there. That's how it is. It's already bad enough, it's such a separate room. Officer, I sit down, and you, as the correctional officer, say, here are the conditions. If any are broken, we'll stop immediately. And will I visit that colleague over there again?
glass pane or...
No, not a glass pen, yes, otherwise she immediately gets a block. If there's any foreign language, anything going on that's not allowed here, certain words, you're not allowed to talk about the case. He reads through the file, he becomes aware. If something's going on, he says so. Report immediately, stop, and they get a block. As long as pretrial detention continues, he can't come anymore. I agreed. He understood. Then my partner visited for the first time. I think after 3 days, we don't need to talk about it. That was pure drama, yeah. I mean, totally broken, devastated. The little one couldn't come in because she couldn't handle it, and the little one also had kids with her. The people who are involved in crime or are getting started or are thinking about getting into it, and also have kids. Guys, you don't know what you're doing to your children with this. It has a lasting effect, my little one now. She has suffered severe post-traumatic disorders because of that time. I was suddenly removed from her life overnight. Even if I was a jerk, I was still her father. Yeah, he was just sitting next to me. I just wanted to say that. He was cool and said, just follow the rules. A quick kiss and hug at the end is fine, but stick to the rules. I don't want drama. He said, I'm going through with this even though I don't want to. I have to write and I'm doing you a favor. You can hug or kiss at the end, but follow the rules. In those situations, I was lucky because they were humane. There are all kinds of people. You can't even cough the wrong way around some of them. We talked, shared thoughts, and calmed and encouraged each other. Yes, but it was also a tough situation. What?
Do you say to the woman in that situation?
What happened? I told you, and now look where this has led. See what's going on here, your daughter. Everything is ruined. They destroyed our house. What have you done? What's happening here? Is that true? And then he said, Mrs. XY, I'm not going to mention the name now, to protect your privacy as well. First warning, please just say it. Please let it go. Say yes. She just asked. I say yes, I understand that too, but please make sure not to talk about the case. Okay, all right, I say, let's leave it at that. Then she says, okay, and man, and back and forth like that, and then total drama. It was human drama. Crying, of course, nonstop. She went in, cried, went out, cried, and lost 15 kilos. And the little one was completely out of it. She just wet herself all those weeks, the first half year. Yes, she just wet herself. No, she didn't do that. She was 3 and potty trained, but now she peed her pants and was completely done.
I'm really sorry to hear that. And
yes, of course, sure. I still feel sorry about it to this day. And she still carries this post-traumatic stress disorder with her today, and she still has it completely to this day. And that's, I think, I don't need to say anything more about that. And yes, I won't forget that either. I met a lot of decent people in the justice system, employees, and also many where I thought they were in the wrong place, but also many who were really decent. I met many nice people, and he was very decent. He went out with me, stayed by my side, asked me to wait, then went through some small closed tunnels. I know him. He said, yes. Old dude says, oh, exactly. He says, dude. That's how Berliners say dude, he said. What did he say? He says, get out of this mess. Look at your sweet, pretty wife. He says, take this, get through here. He says, and then end this shit. He says to me, stop it. He says, I'm so sorry. He says, I have a wife and 3 daughters at home. He adds, she mentioned the child too. He says, man, hey, come on. He says, use this time here. Look inside yourself. Try to settle down. He says. He did. He says, try to calm down, my boy. And he says, and try to use the time for yourself. He says, stay strong, don't give up, and get it together. I know this will be a tough time for you. He says that even after the visit, he's not on the WAT and doesn't have access. He only does the visits. He says, keep your head up, stay strong, get through this, and try to put it behind you for yourself. Get out of all this. Now there's angels and others. I was still like, yeah, I know, it's a disaster. And so I said, what can I tell you? I said, I'm just a complete idiot. That's what I said. And then he put me in the cell. I had 2 more visits, and my affair came by 2. She wanted to see me. Then there was a big fight right outside. She put herself on the visitor list. She called the prosecutor's office. She requested a visit. I didn't do that. She got herself an approval and then just suddenly had a visitor appointment blocked for her. No, back then that was possible. And then 3 or 4 days later, I get another visit. That's, of course, she was there. Next drama, music. And yeah, of course. You see how many, also from outside, again, you see how many people, what a chain reaction it is when you behave the way I did. And when you go down that kind of path, how many people you drag into it and how irresponsible.
Lives ruined.
Lives ruined and how irresponsible you are even towards your loved ones. When you pull crap like this, you know, and insane. And we haven't even gotten to the victim yet. That's where we're on a completely different level again, yeah. And because of that, it was really terrible. That was an eye-opener for me too. How much responsibility I had on my shoulders at that time. And I just wasn't able to live up to it at all, you know?
Let's talk about that for a moment. Pre-trial detention for murder and joint murder.
Hand to hand.
Hand to hand.
You're under constant watch. No leaving your cell alone. Always escorted by 2 officers. Sorry, I mentioned this earlier.
Exactly.
Cell.
To hit, woman cries, I don't know. How are the finances outside?
Everything's gone. They took everything I had at home.
Everything's gone. That means immediate financial problems for my wife and child too. Yeah, the breadwinner is gone. Then bitter divorce, affair wife. You get told the little one wets the bed. She couldn't handle it. She got a disorder from it.
Dad was taken from life this morning.
Dad was taken from life. Yes, a psychological extreme situation, or
I'm at or past my limit. You can tell that the child was, it just couldn't handle it. Otherwise, this situation wouldn't have happened, you know, with the withdrawal and all that.
You don't just enter the cell and say,
I'm going to read you a nice book now. No, I have, I'm that kind of guy, and I still am today. Under pressure, I become calm, though it might make me overthink. I analyze the situation to see how I work and what options or possibilities I have. Basically, what situation am I in? How can I work with it? Where can I start in order to, deal with the situation? I don't get aggressive or loud. I just become quieter, more withdrawn, and try to calm myself. That's automatic. I have no control over it. And I think about it and try to play through the scenarios and make the situation predictable for myself. And then I also try to act and make the best of it. Simple as that. It's always been like that. I was never someone who, just...
What can you think because of that?
Yeah, you try it. Well, all of that just goes through your head. You know, you obviously try it. Why? For what reason? What evidence? How is it going? I then looked at the file, the one that was released. Then they gave it to me. They let me see it, all that kind of stuff, you know. And then I still remember. Then the door opened too. Then all of a sudden I got bags of groceries from the club, from the Hells Angels, who were also there. It was handed to me quickly. I didn't smoke, and they gave me a phone, which I used briefly once. Then I said, I don't feel like it. I don't want to. Go into the bunker to come in. I broke it and threw it away, and that's harsh. I threw it away right away. I didn't use drugs and don't want to. But do you notice how certain mechanisms kick in immediately? Chocolate, drugs, phone, that's it. I didn't even ask for that, you know. Some would say, yeah, awesome, look, the brothers are supporting you, but I say no.
Who deposited money?
One of the members, his cousin took care of everything. He also did it. That's crazy. He sent in a phone, a digital versatile disc player, a television, and all that stuff. And the crazy thing was, they got the money from my affair. Then they went there. Yeah, we need 300, 400 euros. We want to buy things for him. Those are the brothers who want to take care of you. And then they go to the woman, to the weaker link, more or less. Let's say, again, yes, the woman is, of course, a strong personality. But from their point of view, she's the weakest link in the chain, the one who just takes everything. And they also demand money from them so they can buy things for me and smuggle them in. And the so-called big men, the ones who make the big money.
With 1,000 brothers in Germany?
With 1,000 brothers in Germany. Yeah. Oh, not even 1,000 brothers? Those 40 are enough? Let's stick with the 40. Yeah, that's more realistic. Suppose it's 300 euros. They paid both the lawyer and the club lawyer, expecting him to handle it their way. And of course, we'll get to that topic as well. It was 5,000 euros, but they didn't deposit the 2,000 euros. She paid that herself and told me later. My visitor is telling me.
Nice disappointment, yeah.
That's disappointing. That's crazy, right? I don't know. Can you do that silently? Actions speak louder than words. I think everyone can do that themselves now. Behind the screen. Those watching should reflect and decide for themselves. Any reasonable person would likely reach the same conclusion. You can do that if you want. It's your choice. Period, like you always say, so the topic is done. Just yes. That was the situation. I had several meetings with the lawyers, and for me, the machinery started up. No, I got the file and thought, they're throwing the book at me, accusing me like I shot them myself. Yeah, life sentence, plus possibly a special severity of guilt that's also on the table. That means 20 minimum, 20 minimum, 20 with the official stamp. That's it, official stamp. Everyone has a prisoner file. If you have a damn stamp in there, nothing is open to you anyway. That makes it even harder for you. In front of the parole commission, or rather the parole board. Judge, yeah, that's a cave, that's not so easy. Yeah, I read through the file. Luckily, I was cognitively fit enough to handle it, because I had to. What's going on, what's happening here, what's the situation? They're throwing the whole thing at me here, the full program right at my door, everything with little extras. Especially serious guilt. I haven't even killed the guy. I was in that store for 7 seconds. No, I was treated exactly the same as the shooter, legally. Just a different definition, And I thought to myself, hey guys, this can't be true. And then it started, this can't be true. And then I read the informant reports back and forth and thought to myself, hey, this didn't make sense at all. That's not true either. The identification was wrong. The wrong people were blamed. The sequence of events wasn't correct. The number wasn't right. Not at all.
Did you ever have that? For a moment, I had a feeling, okay, this is so wrong here. There's no way they'll get away with it.
No, I didn't have that. I was worried. What if they just take it at face value? I can't say anything here because I'm not testifying as sales angel. That was my first thought. But here, things just don't add up at all. Quite obviously. This person and that person weren't even there. This person and that person never said that, and this person and that person aren't even on camera. Wrong people were identified and things like that, Statements never happened and all that. It's wild, guys. I didn't even know that was supposed to be decided. That's another key point, in addition to everything else. It wasn't just about the others, but at the end of the day, of course, it was also about me, obviously. And of course, there were also people who were accused who weren't even there. They weren't around anymore. They were in the Sahara or wherever else. Also exciting, just crazy. Again, there was a certain ease with which these informants and undercover agents were simply believed. And based on that, they even arrested some people, sometimes rightfully so, sometimes not. Yeah, you did.
Did you get messages internally from other prisoners? Did you communicate with each other, maybe through house workers or something like that?
Nothing at all. No. I can't trust the house workers, and you really have to be careful there. The house workers are not trustworthy. The house worker can open it and check or share the info with someone else. I didn't do that. That was just how it was. One or two sent me candy and groceries. I also received a deposit, 500 euros, and that was also given to the woman. For my affair, it was also taken away. Taken back again.
So there.
And
I couldn't do it anymore. So then
Yes, of course they are, but of course also, of course, I think the same way you do that.
Where's away stone? Well,
Sure, of course.
Feathertropfen.
Connection was, yes, that was there, that belonged there, of course. Yes, that was it. That I then said in Michigan, dude, you have to do something here. This can't be true. So for me, it was just incomprehensible that they were really accusing me of this now. So in that way, I would have understood aiding and abetting, or I don't know, whatever legal definitions there are. I'm not sure what kind of agreement that is. I know there's aiding and abetting, there's manslaughter, there's joint intent, there's murder, there's whatever, but I didn't shoot the guy. So you can't expect me to speak the same language here.
I'll skip FP, the nasty one. Philip. Bro, Berlin City Champions League trophy, Fierce View crew charter. Well, that's how it is.
A lot?
Bro, do it. Just do the 20.
Yeah, of course.
You wanted Germany.
As a real man?
You wanted global recognition. Now you have it.
Yes, exactly.
That's easy to say, right?
That's easy to say, and that's the result.
A 19-year-old will just write that down. No.
Go ahead if you want. Have fun with that for the next 20 years. I wish you lots of fun. I'll send you a private postcard soon. Go ahead and do it. And from us...
You just have to say it like that since he said it casually, right?
I understand, totally. I get your sarcasm.
Yeah, but because people don't understand it, you have a wife, a child outside your affair. Is the money still coming? People ring the bell and say, watch out, we paid a deposit, so give us the money no matter what. But you have to imagine that.
They have, yeah, I could add a few more things. I'll do it in a moment. Yeah, what can I tell you, like, to those people out there who still ride it? You just can't help them either. So if after watching a video like this, I mean, after the whole series, if you still don't wake up and don't get it, they just don't want to.
Yeah, just don't like.
No, they just don't want to, so you can't help them. They have to go through it and learn, even if it's through pain. I always say we've also talked with your partner, I mean with Marissa, your wife, no, sorry, not with my partner, but with my partner and your wife in the conversation. And I also said, I believe that you only learn through pain, meaning through consequences. And otherwise, if a person doesn't face any consequences for their behavior, doesn't bear, receive, or experience them, they won't change. You also need to help someone out of that situation and similar ones. But first, something has to happen, a wake-up call, whatever it is. If someone refuses to learn, they either learn through pain or not at all, potentially becoming a career criminal. And then I wish you lots of fun. When you're 50 or 60, you'll be sitting somewhere, holding out your hand, collecting bottles.
I sat with you surrounded by people who had spent 30 or 40 years of their lives there, and they talked about it as if that's just how it is, 30, 40 years.
Yeah, great, such a wonderful life. Sure, there are also, I don't know, but I'll just drop a name now. I had avoided it before. There's also someone like Billionaire Mike, who I recently saw online. Algorithm says, hi, YouTube. I'm not a stranger to the internet, though I don't use it much. Your content, sure. But those who sit there and say, yeah, that's just how it is. I'm a scammer. I do it. It's awesome. It feels cool. Right? Great. And unfortunately, there are people who are all about self-promotion and give these people a platform and generate content from it. And I think that's not just something to be criticized, I'll be honest with you, but it's also irresponsible. Because young people, teenagers are watching these people and they end up with a completely wrong understanding. Yes, and the lives of today's young generation take place on the internet, not on Pro7 or Zweites Deutsches Fernsehen. They watch media libraries, YouTube, and Twitch instead. And to those who make this content, ask yourselves, would you want your child to watch that? Back to this topic, didn't we already compare it to prostitution? And do you want your child to watch this kind of content, especially from people who still stand behind things like that? They take them as role models and go through the world like that themselves. I would find it funny. Sorry, I wouldn't find it funny. I'd be curious to see how it feels when you visit your child in prison and how great that is. That's why I also mean those who give them a platform. Think about it, try it, and ask yourselves if that's really so great, if that's actually helpful. We shouldn't be too moralistic. People should do as they want. And I'm not trying to convert anyone, but some self-reflection is good. You know, the most important thing.
Which one? I know it from the book, you know. The book by the Persian is linked below the video. Which idea do you have? Changed your lawyer also?
Yes, let me stick to the process for a moment. My process, if that's okay with you.
It's your story.
Yes, then after these things and this situation, the process started for me, the wheels started turning. What do I do to get out of this situation? Because at the end of the day, I haven't killed anyone here. Guys, yes, so clearly, let's be honest, as they say in the North.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. And as the Northerner says, or as the Nordic folks say, let's be honest. Now, man, what are you doing, boy? And then I thought to myself, hey, man, what's up? There was a time when I had just 2 or 3 days, back when the lawyers were still my previous ones. You gave some away, but they were still my lawyers, all good. They visited and said, Mr. Zargaran, we need to talk. I agreed. There's a file note that caught our attention, and we've also had conversations with the other lawyers. They always met up. Actually, that's not allowed. Days.
Offense.
Yes, they met regularly, had meetings at the Baden law firm with whichever lawyer. And they said, yes, there was a situation. Chenkai, one of the members, offered himself to the authorities, the education authorities, and expressed various things about himself. These were recorded, and there was a conversation with the homicide squad, with a prosecutor, a deputy prosecutor, and the head of the homicide squad, Mr. Vogis. He said, I want out, you have to let me go. They asked why, and he replied, I'll testify only if you let me out. And they said, listen, that's not how it works here. Not with the accusation. You have the right to make a statement. We make sure we understand your situation and still protect you and accommodate you, that you lack nothing and that nothing happens to you physically or mentally. The priority is their physical safety, ensuring no one attacks them and they remain secure. But we can't just make any deals here and say, if they say A and B, then we'll let them go at C. Something like that, that's not going to happen. The conversation is on record, and I hope I'm repeating it correctly. And he replied, no idea and stuff, then made a gesture. He suffered a nervous breakdown and was given psychiatric medication due to these severe attacks. It was that guy from Frankfurt. Chenke took psychiatric medication. I totally understand. Of course, it was understandable in the end. Then he said, no, if they find out I'm leaving with you, you don't know what will happen to him, and I just want to leave. I'll do anything. And then he said, no, that's not possible. We're sorry. Tell yourself it's bad, but it won't work. And then they said, well, no, then I won't testify either. I'll only testify if I get out. I said, fine, all right, then not. Then they took him back to the cell. The item was written, added to the file, and then released as part of it. Yes, you already told me. I just described the situation. I just wanted to say, but he didn't testify. He offered to, but it didn't work out. And wanted to share that. We discussed this with our colleagues. We are, of course, under the assignment umbrella, and of course, we also have our options there. And as soon as we become aware of it, since we also have our own access, we will, of course, try to initiate various measures to get a handle on it. I look at him and think, man, you better not say a word. Which side are you on? Yeah, and you better not give yourself 5 emotional minutes. Be careful with your words and watch what you say. Otherwise, it gets passed on quickly and they make life here hell. That happens in 5 minutes. That's the other lawyer. It's always at the party or with me, then over here. I was just fed up. Is the Frankfurter still here? No, he was kicked out after a few years. That's the information I have. A year or 2 after the trial. And if I'm teaching that right, but he's no longer with me. He got kicked out after the trial. Convicted as well, sentenced to life in crime. And yes, and then it started for me. Then there were various television reports from Spiegel Television. And we had already discussed Thomas Heise and Klaus Meyer. The 2 guys had made 2 reports, or even 3, and one of them was really intense. They visited the mother at home, and then, it was really intense. And then I saw her there, and then for the first time, I was there. At a time when, for the first time, I really took off my blinders and saw things from the victim's perspective. I allowed myself to take it in, or it happened automatically, and I had no control. I was in a phase where I had the opportunity to let this victim perspective affect me. I thought, look at what happened there. What did we do? Even if I didn't kill, I was present. I was involved, part of the structure, and helped strengthen it. Look what we did. Later, she says, my other son died a few years ago. That was my last son. Man, you really think, man, just imagine, I was a father at that time too. Just imagine if they had shot your daughter or your son or something like that. Duh. And then for me, it was okay, bro, always for what? Yeah, exactly, for what? And man, it was really dramatic, really, really insane for me. I also submitted that to the file back then, what I was thinking about those things, what I saw. Yeah, and then I just didn't know what to do. Plus, with the lawyers, I just didn't know how to help myself. Like, what do I do? How do I deal with it? And now comes the moment where, what? You can't make this up. Just one day later, after this documentary, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a few days, my lawyer came, I mean, the regular lawyers, all of them, one of them was a duo, said, listen, we're going to be away for a week now. Um, just so you know, don't worry, you have my phone number, I'm available for you. I had a cell phone with the unlocked number for my lawyer, but that was it. And we'll come back in a week, then we'll visit you. Just so you don't worry, so you know we're not there. Okay, all right. And what comes next, you can't make up. A day passes. I enter the cell, wait until morning, open my door the next day. After talking, Zan says, come out. I say, you have a visitor. I say, what kind of visitor? I have a visitor. Well, not a visitor like that. Your lawyer is here. Why is my lawyer here during vacation? No idea. It's the lawyer. What should I do? Do you want to hear from me or see him? Very clearly dressed. I'm going out. And then, of course, you first have to go through 2 or 3 doors, which are, of course, just bars. The door opens, and then I see this grey one. Yeah, kind of middle-aged, early 50s glasses, very, very sporty clothes, hoodie, briefcase, well, a backpack with a briefcase inside, laptop in hand, like a bag. And yeah, and he waves at me like that. I'm like, dude, who is that? The guard opens the door, tells me to go ahead, and says he'll follow and lock up. I walk through and approach him as he comes toward me. He says, listen, I'm from Melanie, and I'm an old school friend. I just play along. They let me through. I excuse myself with the lawyer. Okay, so me, and I'm thinking, man, is he trying to mess with me? Who are you? What is this game? I didn't trust anyone then. My question now would be, are they trying to set me up? Are they setting me up? What kind of game is this? I thought, okay, all right, and stayed quiet. Who's there? Open up. It just flowed. You couldn't react. Then the door opens. I go into this area for the lawyer meetings, for the lawyer cells. I go in, they close the door, or I close the door, I sit down. He says, yeah, I'm Stefan Schoppel. I come from Melanie. I'm a school friend of her mother. She called me desperate and exhausted. She hasn't eaten or slept properly in almost 2 weeks. Maybe 3 weeks. I have no idea. She was at her limit. And she said she needs help. Her husband needs help. Her boyfriend needs help. And yeah, now here I am. How can I help you? That's what I said. He says, you know why I'm here? Yes, I've seen it. Berlin is full, the justice system and police, but it's burning here. He says, I can tell you that the lights are on everywhere here. He says the justice system is working at full speed. He knows about your case and the police, and he's aware of it. I read in the papers, which are full of it. He says, I have no access to the files and I'm not allowed to. I also signed the power of attorney for you, of course, which I can't have myself. Because I'm still not mandated, I'm telling you this now. He's handled major cases, even defended terrorists and more. He says, as I see it, with the crime and structure, this will be a life sentence. I'll show you, one way or another. What do you mean? Yes, he says, don't get your hopes up. It may sound harsh, but I prefer to speak openly. There will be life sentences handed out here. What do you say or do when you hear that? Let me finish my sentence, he says. Don't get your hopes up. That's what he wants. Keep that in mind. If no one communicates here, nothing will change, and there will never be a reputation. I've been a lawyer in Berlin for over 20 years. I know how things work here, and there's no leeway. I'm convinced of that. When he said that to me, we're back to the 3rd time. Everything moves on. I'm serving his time. Like, wow, that wasn't just a slap. That was a running start, with your combat boots, probably. Kicking with steel-toed boots, straight on, with a running start without any hesitation. Ways to protect myself. Boom. Imagine hitting the wall 3 or 4 times, falling and repeating it 3 times. It was like a slap in the face, and for me it was like, whoa. He says, let's take a break and let this sink in. I'll return in 2 days and we'll use this week while the other lawyers are away. I have power of attorney now, that's fine. He left and I entered the cell. I just completely collapsed at first, slept, it drained so much energy from me. And then the day was over, then we came at night, and at first I was just so perplexed. During my free periods, I mostly did nothing, barely ate, avoided shopping, talked to people through windows, and yelled a lot. It was just nasty. You know, it's terrible, really awful, really loud, and you can't find a quiet thought either. Then really, yeah. I was glad that he came back again. It's like, you know, that's what I mean. You couldn't even make that up. Before I met him, I was desperate and unsure what to do, stuck in a dilemma. I kept it to myself because I couldn't say anything, but if you stay silent, so does everyone else. That's not true. You need to defend yourself. Anything that isn't said also isn't taken into account. Then I thought, hey, day player, that door opened and I saw him, so you can do that. Any other film script director or screenwriter would say, hey, that's too over the top, you know, but you can't make that up. And then he came back 2 days later and said, how's it going now, like that? He brought me some chocolate, met up with Cafe earlier with Melanie, some nice words from her, gave me a scarf that smells like her. Classic, she told me to stay strong, etc. Who has the lawyer? Is she paying? She's outside waiting for me, relaxed and not worried. Then we talked and went over the case and what happened. I explained to her what happened, including the background, traffic, structure, hates angels, and more. And he said, yeah, okay, all right, I'll get the file now and we'll meet again tomorrow. No, he came back in the afternoon. It had to go quickly and we still had a bit of time left for the lawyers. He had to make a decision about me. That means it had to go quickly. We already had a trial week, but it was more like, he can't do it now. I'll try again next week, and so on. And then he came back again in the afternoon. We sat down, we talked. Then I said, have you thought about what you actually want to do now? I said, yeah, I wasn't even ready to make any kind of statement yet, you know, because my inhibitions were really high and I didn't know what was coming my way. Also legally, with all changes. And then he said to me, yes, listen up. I'll just explain the legal framework to you now, how something like this works and what comes out of it or what happens there and so on, and the mechanism. Then he told me about it. With police protection, Section 46B section. I want to clarify, I wasn't a Crown witness, but a defendant who received the Crown witness regulation. And that's why I have a Crown next door. The Crown witness rule applied to me, paragraph 46B. I wasn't a Crown witness in the sense that a Crown witness is only a... I want to explain again how this process works and what happens. Not important, but I thought I'd just say, let's just go now. And did he explain all of that to me? And then I said, okay. He said, let it sink in. I'll return early tomorrow. He arrived on time. They were allowed in from 7 a.m. He was there at 3 p.m. or so, came back, gave me chocolate. We talked. Even if he hadn't given me chocolate, I would have talked to him anyway. To all the low flyers who would now write, yeah, he sold people out for chocolate. That's right, you have to have a little fun. And yes, then I said, okay, get in touch with the prosecutor's office. I can't go on like this. I said, okay, all right, I'll come back in the afternoon. Then he went out, went to the prosecutor and called him. They met in the office, talked and agreed. They came right away, and then they came again in the afternoon. And he came back and said, today at such and such a time, that's the appointment with the prosecutor. Then I was... Back in Kassra, there was an appointment in the interrogation room where the conversation occurred and was recorded. There were never any secrets. I can talk openly about it. I'm not allowed to discuss government measures since they're state secrets, but that's on record. The conversation is completely harmless after all. We met. I came to Kassra where I had been before, and I said a suspicious hello. It was cold but respectful. We shook hands. I sat there, you know how it is. You were paraded too, but it was worse. They strapped me to the table, so I just sat there hanging like, hello. The interrogators came in, greeted me, and left. Then Foges, the head of the toll commission, did the same. So you get greeted, and then they leave. Then Chief Prosecutor Kassra arrived, best regards. At that point, he was retired. Fröhlich, his companion, was there too. Greetings to him as well. His colleague was his subordinate. They entered, shook my hand without making eye contact, but behaved properly. They sat down in front of me like that. They said, "How can we help you?" or "How can we help you?" What is the...
Concern? And
Talk to us.
you've been, since you were 13 or 14, a street kid, in that environment. You've been out there, all cops are bastards. Enemy of the state. I make my money illegally. We are an outlaw motorcycle gang, and now all of a sudden you talk to the lawyer about it and say, I'm throwing this life away now. That's it. I'll just get straight to the point. I'm giving everything up, everything I've lived for the past 15.
Yes, is...
A huge step. A huge psychological burden?
Yes, of course.
What consequences? Who will come? What will be said? My reputation and name ruined.
Exactly. Very good. Very sick. And of course, you also ask yourself that. I would have been completely as a person. I mean, I was always on your side.
Wow, boss. Someone is at our front door. Do they want to drop something off or something?
No Hell's Angels?
Did you see who my father is?
Yeah, all good. Naturally, you start doubting yourself and your world seems to collapse. But is that allowed? Of course, like that was on my mind, but the situation was way too serious for me to do anything like that. Yes, of course, I was fully aware of the seriousness of the situation and had gone through everything beforehand. Since I told myself to go ahead. And of course, it was clear to me, and now comes the break. Your thoughts are absolutely right and also apply to me, but I had them earlier. And of course, that happened too. It's not easy, as I said, everything is falling apart. The whole construct you cobbled together, built on crap, as I sometimes say, collapses and ends up in a cesspool. And now...
I'm nobody anymore.
And exactly, for example, but what do you want to do, man? What is the consequence of that? What does such a life bring with it? What just happens? And it also took me many months afterwards to settle down, to reflect, to change. Also, touching the wound isn't easy. And you can't just get rid of 25, 26, 27 years of this mindset within 6 months. That's a process. It's hard. It's not easy. Many people don't know what that's like. I don't blame those people either. Self-reflection is not an easy thing. It takes a lot of energy. It's a lot of pain. And it's also mentally challenging for yourself. You have to be very hard on yourself. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. And of course, you also have to admit to yourself that you're just a jerk and that you've just been an asshole for the past few years. And that's not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. You make excuses telling yourself it's fine to do things differently or that it doesn't matter. That's all. Until you eventually reach the point where you say, the point I've reached today, the one you've also reached at some point. And now to think the way we think now, and that's a really difficult journey, and it's always a process. And yes.
You can even feel it here in this conversation. We will end this part here now. My dogs are freaking out about something, and I think your phone is already ringing too. And yes, we will talk about how things go, how the process continues in the next part. Thank you very much. There's a noticeable intensity with this change, and I think you quickly re-engage with the movie. Yeah, giving up my old life, throwing everything away, everything I was. Now I'm at rock bottom. Thank you so much for being so open. Sorry about the dog barking, but it's our family. It's just part of it. Toddy, thanks so much behind the camera. Guys, thank you. Leave a comment, thumbs up or down, give props. Remember that. Linked below is Der Parser by Kassra, a Spiegel bestseller. Entertaining, great book. I hope it'll be available with a signature in the shop then. Not much else to say. Thank you very much for now. Filming will continue tomorrow, and as always, I remain with an ahoy from the coast.